All right, my baby plays the harmonica. This one's going to be mostly about George Harmonica Smith. But let me start out by talking about his great friend, Big Mama Thornton. This is the first female harmonica player that we've mentioned. Female harmonica players have been coming on for a while now, but it seemed like sort of the most male-dominated instrument to me, even more than the guitar and stuff like this back in my day. I was just puzzled by that, actually. All right. Seems like women should be able to play the harmonica just fine. But maybe I think it's a little unladylike. Like, I don't know. Let's have a little fellatio quality, risque. I bet Big Mama liked that part of it, though, actually. What a kick-ass person. Really interesting figure, Big Mama Thornton. I guess the thing that's got me pairing her and George Smith, or Alan George Smith, or George Allen, or Little Walter Jr., it's not the only person to record under that name, is an amazing film I just saw on YouTube called Gunsmoke Blues, where the film crew, the crew of Gunsmoke, the Western TV series, decided to take a trip on a weekend and drive to Portland and see and film Muddy Waters in concert with Big Joe Turner and Big Mama Thornton, Willie Mae, Big Mama Thornton, film them meet them in Portland and film and drive with them to Eugene and film their gig in Eugene. Right, great tour, my gosh. It's just a delightful. It's pretty weird too. Like there's lots of interview stuff with them in a car. Big Joe Turner, Muddy Waters, and Big Mama Thornton with a guy, I should know his name, in a cowboy hat from the Gunsmoke crew interviewing them as they drive from Portland to Eugene and pass around a fifth of Old Granddad. Right? Big Mama gets down, man. Big Joe Turner is taking some big old swigs. Muddy Waters is just like, actually, I think, cocking an eyebrow and going like, man, I can't keep doing it like this. Like, these people are crazy. So, and then features this wonderful, the intro of the whole thing is Big Mama Thornton, the least dolled up woman in America by then, 1971, walking into the venue and up on the stage playing the harmonica. So I'm going to just play that a little bit. Here she's just approaching the stage. Almost looks like she's wearing scrubs, white scrubs. Now she's climbing the stage,
I would like to say thank you for welcoming me back to Eugene once more.
Very harp-oriented performer, actually. Had some great moments as a harmonica player too. I mean, but so unknown. There's a wonderful. Let's see. Do I have this on here? I guess I don't. A wonderful harmonica duet between her and Big Walter. There's a video of that as well. And man, she plays it up, man. She's rocking it pretty darn good. She sets the stage and Walter comes in and ornaments. All right. So, really a great harp player, Big Mama Thornton. I mean, and really a great singer, right? Of course, Ball and Chain, later covered by Janis Joplin, the original version of Hound Dog, which she didn't write, but had a big hit with before Elvis, 53. And you can see that she's just a kick-ass party woman, living exactly how she wants to live in 71. And and one of the great figures of American song, and she died penniless in a Los Angeles boarding house in 83. George Smith also died in 83. All right. Now on that Gunsmoke Blues film, George Smith does several songs as a solo actor leading the band, Big Mama's band maybe, or they got a white boy band, and also George Smith is Muddy Waters' harmonica player. He played with Muddy Waters, here and there, on and off. Although he was based in California, and from Arkansas originally, George Harmonica Smith, and born in the mid-20s, so 10 years older than Junior Wells and James Cotton and Carrie Bell. That surprised me. I figured they were all born the same day or whatever. Okay, I just associate all these guys, sort of second generation after Walter and Sonny Boys. But he was definitely older. And I guess you'd say he had a struggle throughout his career. And, I don't know if he died penniless, but it's possible. Okay. Also, he was never adequately represented in recordings, if you ask me, or that's notorious in a way. But he was an incredible mentor of great harmonica players. So this is why I'm sort of coming at him a little indirectly. Because he's not adequately represented in recordings, I suppose. All right, so one thing about George Smith is that so first of all, he did present as Little Walter Jr., okay? And if there's anyone you want to listen to play juke besides Little Walter, lots of people have given it a shot, it's George Smith. All right, and once Little Walter is gone, let's let George Smith do juke, okay? He did, and this is the way, in the Gunsmoke Blues, this is how he opens his set.
Somebody out there asks, can you play Little Walter's juke? Well, I never did get a chance to know the guy. Never heard none of his records. But I'll try.
I never did get a chance to know the guy. I guess he did. I never heard none of his records. Not at all. George Smith was hilarious. He's a comedian on stage. He's always giving people these looks, he'll start looking at his guitar player what the fuck are you doing? He'll start looking angrily. He's looking angrily at Big Mama Thornton or whatever. They're doing this comedy act on stage, right? Or he pretends to get angry at the audience and stomp off, right? And then when they start cheering, he comes back on and goes that's all right. I wanted to come back anyway, man. I would have come back anyway. Why aren't y'all acting right? If y'all aren't going to act right as an audience, I'm getting out here right now. Looking crazy angry, right? Then come back on and just let's have some fun. All right. All right, where did I start that? Okay, here's more juke. The George Smith version. I'll tell you what he's doing right there. He's letting you know I can play every riff in this song, okay? I can do this. If I wanted to do it just like Little Walter, I could get real close. But I'm playing it with my own feel, too. A little harder, a little more rhythmic. He's a real chunky rhythmic player. And a little fatter tone, actually. And maybe a little less like fluidity and more rhythmic drive. He's really a fine player and very technical in surprising ways, actually, underneath, as we'll see a little bit. Okay. Now, I guess what I really want to say about George Smith is that he's a great master, or the greatest master, maybe, of third position. I know I said that about Carrie Bell, too. Carrie Bell and George Smith are close in a lot of ways. Although I wouldn't, you wouldn't mix up their harmonica playing with Carrie's whole like floaty thing I was talking about. George doesn't do that, and George does have a fatter, sort of more Big Walter-esque tone as well. But they both play third position as well as it ever has been played. All right, and maybe I guess if I were really saying. Did I say this about Carrie Bell, though? I would say that George Harmonica Smith and Rod Piazza are the greatest third position players in blues, the double cross players. And George Smith taught Rod Piazza. All right, so let's try this one just to give you a flavor of him in third. He's constantly playing third. You could hear that also he's characteristically plays octaves. There's a lot of tongue involved. That's one of the technical features, I guess. Okay, this one's called Boogieing with George. Yeah, when they're interviewing Big Mama Thornton, Big Joe Turner, and Muddy Waters in the car on the way to Eugene, Big Mama, who's real enthusiastic all the time, she says, like, we're going to go down there and tear up Eugene. We're going to tear it up. Or then she looks at Muddy and goes like, well, you're going to tear it up. I know what I want to do in Eugene, and that's see George Harmonica Smith. Right? Like, what does Big Mama Thornton want to do? She wants to see George Harmonica Smith play the harmonica because it's an amazing spectacle, and he's a great, great player, and he's a great, great showman. Actually, lots of fun, and so that's what Big Mama was looking forward to, just watching George Smith play the harmonica. That's a pretty good tribute, man. All right, I want Big Mama to say that about me, man. Like I just want to see, I just want to see Little Crispy write a philosophical essay or whatever. All right. So let's. Another thing about him is he like Carrie Bell. He doesn't just pose with a chromatic harmonica. He plays the fuck out of a chromatic harmonica, and it's like I say, the technical things like make you realize like he's working. He's working. So here's one I think he uses. This definitely uses a chromatic anyway. the recording isn't what you could wish. I think it's with Sunnyland Slim, Hot Rolls. I feel like the timbre and tone that he gets, even though that recording is so fucked up, I can't even believe you gathered all those musicians and then didn't do better recording wise. Timbre and tone is unusual, very conscious. He's constantly playing with this in a way that surprises people, even if they're harmonica players, I think. All right, well, now, one thing he does, Jerry Portnoy did a fair amount of this later on, and in a way I really loved, like playing standards. Either pulling it out of a diatonic with all kinds of bends, or, playing it on a chromatic, but in a bluesy way. So he does, George Smith did Summertime and Misty, which I think is also something that Jerry Portnoy recorded. And those are things that you're going to have to work on, right? Like, I'm kind of like this as a harmonica player. I don't want to rehearse, man. Just play it and I'll improvise to it. I'm lazy like that. I'm not going to work up a song, like make a chart or something, trying to memorize 3 minutes of exact riffs or whatever. I'm just going to play, all right? And it's going to work out. But if I'm going to do Summertime, and I've tried, or if I'm going to do Misty or something, I Left My Heart in San Francisco. We did that one too. I'm going to have to work on it for a few days, okay? So I don't know, so this is just like sort of informing people that you could do something else with this instrument too. Not that, Larry Adler wasn't playing jazz and standards and stuff, but blues players weren't. Little Walter didn't do Summertime, but George Harmonica Smith did. All about the tone. This is the most evil Summertime ever recorded. Well, now I want to try that. Getting Summertime out of third position. By the way, if you're ever trying to play along with third position songs, it's almost always in G. Is that right? No. It's in D, and so you're playing the third position harp in C. For some reason, almost always, man, like people play third position in C. It's not. There's no reason for that I can think of, but it's just like if you hear third position, you should pick up your C harp to play it in D. Okay. Now, one reason to it, I mean, I guess I debated including George Harmonica Smith, partly because like the recordings don't represent him adequately, but one reason to include him is his influence. He recorded with and highly influenced both Rod Piazza. He performed with and influenced, mentored a bunch of West Coast harmonica players. Like this is a whole different little blues scene. Okay, it's not the people coming out of Chicago like Muscle White and etc. It's the West Coast, Butterfield. It's a little later, but early 70s, let's say, in the 60s too, West Coast blues scene. People like T-Bone Walker are out there, man. Like there's great West Coast blues, and they're overlapping. And George Harmonica Smith's playing with T-Bone Walker, I think too. Not that T-Bone really used a harmonica player very often. But okay, so then there's a generation of younger harmonica players who he introduces really to how the instrument should sound, I think, and highly influences their playing. So Rod Piazza, who's all-time hero of mine, one of just a handful of the greatest blues harp players in my view, and the person I would most try to emulate on third position harp, amazing third position player. He was in a band when he was a kid, basically, with George Harmonica Smith in the 60s in LA. And Bacon Fat was the name of the band. 2 harmonicas, he says. But anyway, but William Clarke, the great William Clarke, and who we'll talk about, and James Harman. Okay, these are the great sort of, next generation white blues players keeping the tradition alive, and George Smith made that possible. So I'm going to play snatches of Rod Piazza's tribute to George Smith. He does it, of course he does it, in third position.
Somebody out there asked,
That's Rod.
We're going to special play and dedicate this next number to all the blues lovers in the house tonight. And we've got to send it out to the memory of a great blues singer and harmonica player, the late great George Smith. One time, baby. All day long, I've been standing by my telephone.
And Telephone Blues was maybe the one of George Smith's signature songs, and especially kind of the intro where he just lets the octaves ring, kind of in third. I guess I'll go to a little bit more of Piazza's recitation here. Let's see if I can get it at the right spot.
Brand new man in your home.
Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, I first met George Smith way back in the mid-'60s. That's when we formed a little group known as the Bacon Fat, with 2 harps. I was just a kid at that time coming up, and it sure was a pleasure working with you. We used to work every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning down at a little club in Los Angeles known as the Smalls Paradise Club on 53rd and Avalon. When you working all night Friday night, ladies and gentlemen, 9 till 2, Saturday night 9 till 2, and right back at 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday until 10 o'clock that evening. It's one thing that you're looking for. I said it's one thing that you're looking for. That's a guest artist.
Some kid to play harmonica when you get tired, maybe. Is that what you're saying?
Such as the great blues guitar player T-Bone Walker, Pee Wee Creighton, Big Mama Thornton, a whole lot of blues artists that had settled in Los Angeles would come by and do their thing. What I'm trying to convey to you is that we had a natural ball on them early morning into the afternoon, all the way up till 10 at night jam session like I hope you having here tonight. If y'all let me hear you sing, yeah, this evening. Hey! You know, Friday night I would kick things off, and being 19 years old, like Muddy Waters say, I play everything that I knew just to try and get the little club jumping. Then George Smith will get on the bandstand and upset the club with one number. I remember what he used to tell me at that time, say, Ron, do your thing. Man, do your thing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, George Smith is gone now. And I am grown. I mean, way past 21. Now I'm gonna do my thing. This one's for you, baby.
That's just how George Smith would have played it too. Well, I guess that's my rap on George Harmonica Smith. A bit of a tragedy in a way. Like, I wish he got a lot more recognition. Everyone seems to. I mean, when they're interviewing Big Mama on Gunsmoke Blues, actually, she does this on stage while she's sort of introducing people toward the end of the concert. She looks at George Smith and she says, he and I have been scuffling for a long time, and I hope we're going to make it this time. 71. But not really, man. Like I say, she died broke, and I don't know about his reputation at the end of his life. Certainly there were the young guys who knew what was up. But, oh my God, man, it's a little sad. Well, it's the blues, I guess. But, man, Willie Mae Thornton should have just done a lot better, okay? Like, a goddess, okay? Anyway. All right, Big Mama Thornton and George Harmonica Smith on My Baby Plays the Harmonica.